It's the first sprint race weekend of this F125 My Team season, where we are once again driving as ourselves as the owner driver in My Team career mode. And this one is coming off the back of a bit of a controversial episode for the team dynamics between ourselves and Max Verstappen. Because at the British Grand Prix, of course, with a special one-off livery, the British Racing Green Lotus colours, we came together, and it was an absolute disaster as we emulated, well, the man we crashed with. We emulated Verstappen from 2021 and went off at Cops, and that was our race over and done with as we had to watch from the sidelines. Gabriel Bortoleto, a fantastic result for him and Ferrari, a 1-2, and they apply the pressure to us. In the constructors, they are as close as they ever have been. And Bortoleto with a good advantage in P1, and ourselves and Verstappen down in, lower top 5 now in the Drivers' Championship. It's a moment of, importance to dust ourselves off and just pick ourselves back up, and we go again. You can never get stuck up on what's happened, and we just need to try and reset, and so that we will in a very sunny sprint quali here around Spa. First sprint race weekend of the season. I almost forgot what a sprint race weekend felt like, to be honest, and well, if the FI have their way, apparently we're going to be getting more sprint weekends potentially, or they're certainly pushing for it seems like, with the rhetoric lately in real life. But here in this sprint quali in this series, we come across the line and it's P1 right now, very close to Leclerc though. That's incredibly close, 0.017. We were quicker than Charles Leclerc in the McLaren. Horrendous time though for Red Bull. What happened there? Obviously it's a shortened qualifying, as we always do in the sprint qualies in this series, so pretty much you only get one lap or a second lap on worn tyres, and so Gasly and Russell 17th and 18th. It's a disaster for Red Bull Ford. Really nightmare scenario for them after a so-so British Grand Prix, and Ferrari continue to be strong. 3-4 is very, very good for them. Leclerc and myself bouncing back a little bit after, Leclerc didn't have electric pace, but certainly better than us, I guess you could say, in the British Grand Prix. Verstappen P5, so, the big names in the championship fight up there, minus Russell. He's going to have to make a big comeback, and that's going to be difficult, because there's only, 8 laps in this sprint race around Spa. It's going to be a little bit cloudy, but I don't think there's any rain forecast for this one. There might be for the full Grand Prix, but let's see how we do off sprint pole as we go to 5 red lights. And we are underway, veering left very aggressively, because Leclerc gets us off the line, and I just knew he was going to get that acceleration. So far this season, it seems like the McLaren and Ferrari both have just had that extra oomph out the corners, and on the start, we've had some pretty poor starts as of late, and so Leclerc gets us, but we're actually in a better position potentially now as we run down the Kemmel Straight to get the slipstream, to get the overtake done. But Bortoleto there on the right as well. We were trying to go to the right. Bortoleto stops out. We have to go to the left instead and try and go on the outside of Leclerc. Where is Gabriel Bortoleto and all of that? I think he's tucked in behind. I was kind of afraid it was nearly 3 wide there, but thankfully just myself and Leclerc, and we do have the speed mid-corner to get back around the outside and get into P1. So all in all, it's actually a pretty decent lap one. We lost the lead, but we didn't panic and we got it back, especially considering the Ferrari was right in there and made things really awkward, as it's still a 3-4 then for Ferrari. Verstappen still P5. Gasly's gained, I think, 1 position, at least P15. Russell's lost a position, I think. He's down to 18th. I think he started 17th, right? So, yeah, Red Bull's going to have a tough time. I mean, it is a sprint, so you're not going to lose a lot, but if you score 0 and, if I was to go on to win this sprint, that's 8 points you're losing, which is more than you would lose if you came second to first place in the full race. So it is maybe a big deal in a way, especially when the season is so bloody close. And speaking of close, Leclerc cutting it fine through Blanchimont. We nearly had a bit of an issue there, as I thought he was going to punt me off midway through that section, and we're still side by side as we go on to lap 2, and Leclerc gets it back. He is in a very aggressive mood, trying to come back a little bit in this phase of the season. Obviously, he won those 2 races on the bounce. It was all looking quite surprisingly great for him, and then it's been a bit of a quieter time the last few episodes for him and McLaren. It's kind of been more about, well, ourselves and Verstappen, I guess, and Ferrari coming back strong with Bortoleto. And speaking of, as we go for the move on Leclerc on the grass, on the inside, Bortoleto gets both of us maybe here. The Brazilian is honestly probably the man in form at the moment. He is flying. Like, there's been so many times in the last 2 episodes where I've just kind of been almost taken aback at how quick the Brazilian has been in this Ferrari as of late, and this just shows it. I was going for a move on someone else, and he just fancies getting both of us in one go and gives us a real hard time now on to lap 3, trying to get him back as he sets a new fastest lap, as it's super competitive here at the moment with this top 3. Albon and Verstappen not really in it yet, so we're going to see if they can get involved maybe, as it's very early days here, and I reckon we can get the move. We're going to on purpose lift off and just stay behind Bortoleto as we go through Radion then and Upper Rouge, and now let's go down the Kemmel Straight and try and find this pass. No battery though, that's a bit frustrating as we don't want to overuse it now and have nothing left for the last sector, but that invites Leclerc in. Not for the first time then. We've tried to make a move on someone, and someone else behind me has come through on the left to pass both of us, because that was basically a double repass for Leclerc. And on to lap 6 then. We've kind of flown by through towards the end of this sprint now, because it became a phase of I just couldn't kind of keep up with Leclerc. He's kept me at an arm's length now for the last few laps of about 4 to 5 to 6 tenths. We're gaining a bit and then we lose some, and instead the focus is on, well, Fittipaldi here in the Cadillac attacking Verstappen. What is going on here? I mean, Cadillac got, I think, was it a double points finish at Silverstone last episode, which was very surprising. A great job for them. And clearly they're going from strength to strength then in this part of the season in terms of that forward momentum that we know is so important for the AI and for the teams. I think the teams themselves get momentum for sure with some good results. And the same can't be said for Red Bull. This will be a setback for Red Bull for sure, momentum-wise, because both their drivers will be scoring no points. They're both not even in the top 10, let alone top 8 for the point scoring in the sprint. But as Albon has got past Bortoleto then, so after a really impressive first few laps, Albon getting the better of him. Bortoleto's come back, to be fair, though, as we go on towards the last lap of the sprint. Look at that tyre wear. Ay. That's one to note for the full race. If we're getting this much tyre wear on mediums on only 8 laps of fuel, imagine on a full tank. That is actually going to be quite useful data to get from this sprint. But yeah, struggling. I mean, that's a word. Struggling is nearly putting it into the wall, more like, on the last lap there. And if we weren't anywhere near to Leclerc before, now we've really shot it. But yeah, it's a case of I was gaining consistently every sector 1. I would lose time in sector 2, just like that. That was probably more exaggerated than before. And then sector 3, I would either have enough battery, but I'm too far behind, or I wouldn't have any battery, and so we just weren't able to break less than 4 tenths to Leclerc to come back at him, and the McLarens held out for the sprint win today. And instead, on that last lap, because of that mistake, we're actually holding off Bortoleto, who's done well to, obviously repass Albon and, solidify that P3, and he almost gets the P2. We have to be very defensive into the last chicane to maintain second place, but that tyre icon is brick red. That's concerning. That surely means on heavy fuel, a medium will probably be withering away at lap 6 or 7. So that's going to be one to think about in terms of, is it a nailed-on 2-stop? Like I said, though, there is some rain also maybe forecast for the full Grand Prix, so that could play into things. But Leclerc ultimately bouncing back a little bit after a few quieter races for a sprint win. Disaster for Red Bull. They're going to need to sort themselves out. But I think, with the sprint quali, because it's only 1 lap, and we know on F1 25, the qualies were a bit chaotic. Like, they're probably the most chaotic qualies on an F1 game for the last couple of years, because some of the simulated times just don't make any sense sometimes. So maybe that was a factor for Red Bull. For us, clearly we had some good pace over one lap to get the sprint pole, but the ultimate race pace maybe was just lacking a little bit compared to the McLaren. But at the same time, I mean, you know, the full Grand Prix always change. You know, the vibe can change for sure, just because you have that, you know, longer number of laps to do something. But we're here into the full qualifying then for the actual Grand Prix proper, and it's our first flyer, purple middle sector. So maybe kind of, you know, going against what we just showed in the sprint where we were quite slow in that second sector. But for us, it's only P4. We're 5/10 off, and it's actually not a great time, to be honest. So we need to go again and find a lot more time, as Gasly is holding us up an absolute treat. What on earth? And he's going for a lap. Brilliant. Brilliant. Of course it's Pierre Gasly. Imagine my shock when it's Pierre Gasly holding me up here, and he's going for his own flyer. He's on provisional pole as well. That's just taking a piss. You've already got a good time, man. We're going to overtake. We're racing each other in quali. What are we doing here? We're racing each other in qualifying. It's fine, though. We didn't lose too much time. And importantly, you may notice on the bottom right, I have on purpose saved over 90% battery, because actually, I didn't mention it, but on that first flyer, the reason why that wasn't actually a great time was, you may have noticed on the bottom right, I ran out of battery for pretty much this entire section. So this time, I made sure I saved battery for this part, where, to be fair, you probably gain a lot more time having that battery, and we did. We gained about 6/10, maybe 5/10, if that, in that last sector alone, to have a 1.1 improvement to get us up. Oh, it's not quite pole, but it's second place. And actually, in the end of it, it's not even Gasly on provisional pole. It is Verstappen on proper pole. It's our first, I think, front row lockout as a team. So in the end, the blocking from Pierre Gasly did not matter. That's fantastic for us. What happened to Ferrari? P10-11. That's surprising, and that's not ideal for Ferrari. But again, like I said, the qualies have been a bit chaotic. It's not as bad as Red Bull, though, in the sprint quali. And obviously, Red Bull have bounced back with Gasly in third place, with Russell in P5 as well. So it is game on for all the championship contenders. And to be fair, for the rest of us, this is good to see Bortoleto in P11. This gives us a chance maybe to get all of us some points on the Brazilian. But no doubt he'll be coming through from P11 for sure. Let's go to the grid.
The Belgian Grand Prix, a race the great Ayrton Senna won 6 times, and in 2019, Charles Leclerc became the first driver to take their maiden win here since a certain Michael Schumacher in 1992. One of the circuits that makes Formula One, Formula One. Welcome to the Belgian Grand Prix. Max Verstappen put in a fantastic lap yesterday, and he'll start from pole position. And it's Jenson Button alongside. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Gasly, Norris, George Russell, Doohan, O'Sullivan, Solov, Lawson, and Alex Albon. Aaron, Leclerc, Victor Martins, and Maloney. Pepe Marti, Hadjar, Jack Crawford, and Richard Verschoor. Stroll, Barnard, Bortoleto, Enzo Fittipaldi rounds off the grid. And now it's time to head down to the track. Well, we welcome you to the broadcast. It's going to be some race today. First of all, introductions. I'm Alex Jakes. Alongside me for this one, Anthony Davidson. Well, it's an excellent sprint yesterday, but we're back to the usual format now. How do they continue what they started?
Absolutely. You know, they're at one with their car. You could see that in the sprint. That's why they were successful there. And you've got to carry that through into this race today. And in a way, we've had a snapshot as well of what this driver's capable of.
Huge revelation watching that grid sequence. Gabriel Bortoleto with a penalty on top of qualifying P11. So he's at the back. He's at the back of the grid. This is now a massive open goal for the rest of us. Myself, Verstappen, Russell, Leclerc, even Albon, really, to maybe get himself into the title fight. This is big. The championship leader at the back of the grid. obviously it's a place where you can overtake, but with rain on the way as well, that could really spice things up and throw a spanner in the works for the championship leader and for the rest of us indeed later on as we go to 5 red lights, the first race of a front row lockout for this team and this partnership. Lights out and we're underway. It's a good start for Verstappen. It's a so-so one for us. We're going to stick behind him despite the controversy in Silverstone. We are going to try and work as a team. I want to work as a team to enable us to get the biggest point score. There's an issue at turn 1. Doohan is out and there's a big pile up. That's going to be a virtual safety car to a full safety car. And Bortoleto plumb last. What? Are you kidding me? Referee! Did we just all see that? He just gained 7 places out of nothing. This is fixed. Ferrari International Assistance is back again. Unbelievable. The championship leader gains 7 places for free, ghosting through the cars. We can't concern ourselves with that right now. We've got bigger things to focus on as we get going again on the safety car restart on lap 4. And like I was about to say, yes, despite the controversy and the tension maybe off Silverstone crashing together, myself and Verstappen, I at least am going to work with him because it's in our best interest to work together to maximize this race now. Seeing Bortoleto, well, I would have said last, but it's now 13th. How's that happen then? How's that? I'll just go shoot myself in the foot. Like, what are we doing here? Okay, great. Well, I guess Bortoleto, to be fair, that's the sort of luck I would get if I was in last. So I can't be too mad at that, but at the same time I can. Albon in P8 then, trying to get Lawson. Lawson actually putting up a very good defensive job. So the Honda fighting hard on the other red car in this race as we gain on Verstappen. We are going to make an overtake, but you see that? Nice and easy. Verstappen's playing ball. He is also not wanting to fight too much. We're going to work together. If we are going to overtake each other, let's make it easy. We get into P1. Verstappen maybe looking to come back on to lap 6, but there's a problem, and it's Lando Norris in the Mercedes. We haven't really seen too much of Norris for like 2 seasons, is it, since he won his championship in, was it season 4, I want to say? But Norris coming back through for the first time in a while, looking strong. He's overtaken Verstappen, so that's a spanner in the works for our plan. I'm fine working with Verstappen, but the problem is now he's been overtaken by Norris, so now we've got to worry about a car that we can't be easy on, as the Mercedes is flying. Where has this pace come from? We're side by side up Radion, and the Mercedes might come back at us. Verstappen might come through, and we've got no battery. 5%. Oh my God. I've just been absolutely mugged off by 4 cars there because of no battery. Spa is one of those races where you can make plenty of overtakes, but also I feel like so many times you just get completely blindsided by, oh, hang on, I've got no battery whatsoever, and they're all flying by me. And you know what? That might be the story of 2026 Formula 1, huh? How many times are we going to hear that IRL in the upcoming season? He's got no battery, and they've all flown by it. Honestly, maybe that was just a great simulation of things to come, as Bortoleto is in P10. Bortoleto's P10. It's only lap 7. I fear this man is cooking at a different temperature for Ferrari. What is going on? Bortoleto may actually be him at this point in the season. Honestly, that guy is so in form. As meanwhile, we're just trying to navigate our way past Pierre Gasly again, coming back through on the 2 Red Bulls that passed us. We got Russell. Can we get Pierre Gasly on the outside into the bus stop? We're going to do a little tactical drift to slow him up, and it's worked a treat there. That's a little top tip I got from Jenson Button in 2009 in Sao Paulo. Kick the tail out and spook them off the apex, and we're up into P3, and we can maybe get on towards catching back up to Verstappen. But surprisingly, out of nowhere, the Mercedes is leading and looking very convincing in P1 there. Where has this pace come from for the Mercedes driver? As we look in the mirrors and Russell flies by us, we don't put up too much of a defense, because at that point I'm thinking tactically about, let's not lose time fighting Russell too much. We can always try and re-overtake him again, and more so, it's actually my tyre wear is kicking in. I feel like coming in a bit earlier than others. Oh, Russell's thinking the same thing. Okay, well, that's fine. We'll just cover each other off, but we will get an undercut on Verstappen and Norris, and that's going to be crucial because my tyres were really not in a good way. Hang on a minute. What? Ah! I'm driving in the pit lane. Ah! I've got manual driving in the pit lane. This is code red. I have glitched a new feature in the F1 game. What was that? Oh. What was that? What was that pit stop? The late pit stop. Sorry. I'm sorry for being late into the pit box. I discovered a new feature in the F1. What was that? What was that glitch? We had manual driving in the pit lane. I knew that something was funny because at this point, I started controlling my car. And then I just tested it by moving right, and we nearly followed Russell into his pit box. Then we lost the rear end because I guess the traction in the pit lane hasn't been, there's no physics properly in the pit lane because they never let you drive in the pit lane. So it was so slippery on the pit lane road because I guess there's no actual data there for grip or whatever because you're always automatically driving down. So the replay cameras cut to each team's pit gantry as we drive through. That's hilarious. Oh, wow. What on earth have we just done there? I don't know. I can't tell you how that's happened, but I've managed to do something brand new that we've never had in the F1 games. Manually driving down the pit lane. Are we going to see that in a future F1 game, I wonder? How's that happen then? I can't tell you how, but that was actually that was like a new horizon had opened up. That's unbelievable. I wonder if we'll get that again for our second pit stop as we come out ahead of Verstappen despite the slow pit stop. That's how much of an undercut that was going to work for us. That's how slow we were getting on the mediums, and so we're ahead of Verstappen in 4th place. We're a little bit down the road from Russell. We should be a bit closer because of the slow pit stop, but it's fine. Norris leads the way, still yet to come in, though. So surely he falls away massively because of the amount of tyre wear that's facing there. Oh, big collision for Martins. It's a double whammy. Gasly loses a bit of his front wing, and the Cadillac is out. And that is going to bring out a second safety car in this race, and that's going to maybe give Norris, well, the advantage of maintaining the lead. So he's maintained the lead. Norris is locked into this, and is a Mercedes going to actually fight for a win properly? Because we're about halfway now, and this Mercedes is still in the lead, but it's now started to rain, by the way. The 2 safety cars have slowed the race up so much that the forecast said the rain was only going to come right at the end of the race. Now it's the middle of the race, and it is already falling from the sky. So is it going to be time for Inters very, very soon? Well, on the safety car restart, we stick behind Russell. I was tempted to come in straight off the safety car restart for Inters, but it's not wet enough yet. I've asked my engineer, he says the dries are still the better race tyre, so for now, we'll just stick with Russell and Norris and try and get this overtake as they're quite slow. Maybe the damp conditions affecting things. Russell moves to the left, Norris shuts the door as we try and make a move. Can we find a way past? We're so close to making contact with both Russell and Norris, 3 Brits fighting for the top 3 positions in this Grand Prix. I honestly wouldn't have called it at the start of the race. This pace from Mercedes is very, very impressive, and it's come out of nowhere seemingly as we defend Russell to try and slam the door shut. Help out Verstappen maybe in P4. We're up to 2nd, but I'm thinking about making a bit of a gamble as Russell comes back through on the inside. Norris is getting away and Russell taps us wide. We're off circuit. Russell gets a little bit frustrated maybe in the cockpit and vents his frustration by tapping us wide. We're down to 3rd again. But yeah, as I was saying, the rain's coming down pretty consistently now. I'm gonna come in. This is a risk I'm willing to take because, well, Norris and Russell look pretty good. You got Verstappen and Albon right there. I think if we want to try and win this race, I think we need to go a bit earlier on Inters because the way we've been all fighting in the sprint, in the race so far, this is only going to slow us all up. I reckon we could get a monumental leap if we pit now a little bit early, but we'll be then prepared for when it's too wet, and we'll be there. We will be there on Inters. So we're in earlier than anyone else, and for the second time we have got manual. I don't know what on earth I've glitched into in this race, but this is hilarious. There's no grip though, so it's slowing me up. I'm going slower than a normal pit stop because there's clearly no grip coded into the pit lane. But yeah, manually driving again for the second time. This time it's an optimal pit stop, ruined by a mistake on the front right. We'll forgive it. We're on to Inters then. No one else on Inters. But just believe in this cause, because it's a long old lap, and maybe just one lap's time it'll be too wet, because it's pretty dark now. It's pretty overcast at the moment. Oh, safety car. Oh, that might help us a lot here. Oh, what's happened at the bus stop? There's a big kerfuffle at the bus stop. Has someone crashed into someone at the bus stop chicane? It's Lance Stroll we're focused on. Oh, he spun it, of course. Of course, he spun it. He's just spun it all on his own. But that maybe indicates it's too wet. He's spun it because maybe it's too damp out there. So maybe we could be in the money. Well, no one's come in yet. No one's come in yet. We're still, well, we're last place, but we're still the only one on Inters. But no one's come in yet. It's even more overcast and dark now. It looks very doom and gloom. It's lap 19, by the way. We've flown by this Grand Prix. We've only got 3 laps to go, in, with the lap we're going on to. Is anyone going to come in? Surely people have got to come in. It's got to be time for Inters. Surely, as we've got a few cars not coming in. Our teammate's in. Verstappen's in. So it's wet enough that Verstappen reckons it's time to come in off the safety car restart, which is a pretty bold strategy from him. So maybe both of us are risking it here as we out-traction O'Sullivan, and we're going to make a kamikaze dive on Marty because it is too wet. I think we're in the right position. Verstappen's in for Inters, and we out-traction Barnard off turn 1. I think we are about to see a generational gamble pay off here. I came in, 5 laps ago, I think it was? Maybe 4. We came in really, really early, and this is about to be the biggest climb you've seen. From last place, we're up to 11th now. From last to 11th, and we've only got to the mid part of the lap, and everyone is going so slow. Big dive bomb. Oh, okay, let's not risk it too much, Arav. We nearly crashed with the Toyota. It's fine. We carried on in P10, and we will close up to Lance Stroll by the end of the lap onto sector 3, diving him on the inside up to P9. 2 laps to go. Verstappen's already come in. Surely others are now going to come in. Even though it's only 2 laps, there's no way you risk it. If you keep going, because of how long Spa is, there's enough kilometres where you're going to lose enough time, where Maloney, we've rinsed him. Bortoletto, the championship leader, desperate to recover in this race. He's P6. He started last in this race. So this is actually, to be fair, a crazy position for Bortoletto to be in. But that's how slow everyone is. We minced him. We absolutely minced him. Fittipaldi will go on the outside of him to get up into P5. We're going to get Norris soon enough for P4. Is this about to be the last place to first in a matter of 3 laps? We get Norris. We're into P4. Albon, Leclerc, and I can't... Who is in P1? Russell. Russell's P1, and they're all in. They're all in. This is it. We're into first place. What? Oh my God. I'm sorry. I'm taking a bow. That is probably the biggest 5 million IQ play to come in super early for Inters. Even Verstappen's game. Verstappen didn't even come in until the safety car came in, and he's gained up to 2nd place. Is this actually going to be? We have converted this 1-2 to a 1-2 finish, and it's in our favour. We're the one in first, Verstappen 2nd, but we've gone from a front row lockout to 1-2 because we were the 2 drivers that dared to risk it, that dared to go earlier than anyone else. I risked it the biggest, but Verstappen still also paid a big risk to be the only man in off the safety car restart, and it's paid massive dividends. But that is a generational gamble payoff. We went from last on the safety car to first in 3 laps. That is ridiculous. As Vershaw is in third at the moment, Albon coming at him at a rate of knots. Leclerc, I think that is, well, Leclerc P5, Russell P8, Gasly P9, Bortoleto P12. So after all of that, after Bortoleto did actually get up into a top 5 at one point in this race, he has ended up out the points. So I feel like that's a bit of karmic justice for his 7 illegal overtakes under the ghosting that we saw on lap 1, to be honest. And so it will mean that Russell will gain some points, Albon, Leclerc will gain a decent chunk, and Verstappen and myself will gain a huge amount on Bortoleto, and we could change the entire makeup of the entire championship off this one crazy, wet race at Spa. Spa always delivers a bonkers one. How have we won this from last place? Oh, that is so sweet. The first race win at Canada was pretty great. This one feels even better because we were literally last at that safety car restart. First place and a 1-2. Unbelievable.
He comes across the line to celebrate the win.
Well, are we looking at a champion in waiting today with that kind of performance? They were driving with the kind of lack of pressure that you quite often see when a driver knows. They just know within themselves that that championship is within their reach.
A show-stopping performance from the 3 drivers approaching the podium right now. It's been an interesting Grand Prix, that's for sure.
I think that's the biggest never say never in Formula One that you can get. You know, in a weird way, we gave up at Silverstone because of our big crash, and we didn't recover. But this one, we kept our foot in there with the gamble, and it's paid off. We get back up into P1, the championship. Verstappen gains a decent chunk to kind of close the bridge to Leclerc. Russell really lost out on this race weekend with the way his sprint and the full race went. We now get more of a cushion on Ferrari, so a bit of breathing room there. But it was still such another competitive race. It's still going to be game on for the run-in for this second half of the season. Guys, if you have enjoyed this one, hit the like button. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. If you're around here, then do get subscribed for weekly Formula One content. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.